Merhaba arkadaşlar, Türkiye'nin ilk ve tek sneaker topluluğu olan Sneaker Türkiye'nin YouTube kanalına hoş geldiniz. Bugün farklı bir videomuz olacak. Direkt gelebilirsiniz bence Bünyamin.
Welcome you to Istanbul.
Do you record, yes or not?
Yes, welcome. Welcome.
Merci beaucoup.
Michael, it's really important for us, for people like you, to come to Istanbul
Yep.
and to really come and like touch base with the people here.
Okay.
A lot of people know who you are.
Yes.
Some people know your books, but
Yes.
how did everything start? Why did you do this? Like, what's the story behind All Gone?
I started as a journalist at the end of the 90s. And I was really into my job for many years. Around 2002, I turned my first job to more consulting, agency, producing events, and I was doing less press and more activation for the people and for my community in my country and in my hometown. But as you remember, at the early 2000s, people were completely amazed, impressed by social media. They were telling the rest of the world like social media will run the world 10 years after, and we will see the end of newspaper, the end of magazines, and almost the end of books. Listening to everyone speaking this way, I was like, there's no way. There's no way a world could be 100% digital and press will disappear. Because I'm an old guy and I believe in paper and I believe in product and I believe in something
You live in
can
touching, you know?
touching, and that's how I decided to make the book. I was like, we're gonna do something for people to remember the past, not to promote instant present and to promote future, but to document the past. Because the phone I'm using every day, like you,
Yeah.
I'm using this to know what's going on in an hour and what's going on tomorrow. But if I want to remember with this what was happening, what was the cool moment, what was the cool product released, even a month ago or 2 months ago or even 2 years ago, it's gonna be hard and this is gonna take me a lot of energy. So I make the book first to pay homage to the stuff I love, and I make the book to document the past and to be sure that no one will remember, no one will forget what
So
happened.
you're actually kind of doing a historian's work as well.
Yes.
I mean, you were preserving all the
yes,
important moments
yes,
and all the important statements of the years.
Yes.
Uh,
And it makes sense today when you see I did 30 books in 14 years because sometimes I do 2 or 3 covers, so the total number is 30 different books. And when you see it on shelves, it looks like an encyclopedia. Oh, what's going on? 2007 was like this. I remember, and blah 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 and blah blah blah.
So Michael,
Yeah.
you probably you receive like daily basis different products in your office, or is it monthly?
information products. It depends. Some products they don't ship anything to you because I'm like you. I need to buy
Yes.
stuff, and sometimes it's all about the process where I get stuff in advance. I'm very pro, so I don't leak stuff because
Yeah.
I'm also behind the scene, and sometimes I do my own thing, and I
Yeah.
know how it can hurt all your plan when some stuff are leaked too early. And then it's all a process of people believing in me, and we try our best.
A
to
lot
make
of people trust you with all the secret
Yeah, 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 yeah,
informations,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
work with everyone.
Yeah,
So
it's part of the job. If you cannot keep a secret, they won't tell you a secret. Yeah.
So I think also a lot of questions will arise. How is the decision process? How do you decide? Oh, the Travis Scott shoe. This needs to be part of it. Or how do you decide on which shoe or which lifestyle item?
I'm gonna make a real transparency talk with you. when you doing your buyings here,
Yes.
and when you go to all showrooms, you have to take in mind the size of your space,
Yep.
the taste of your customer, and the way you display this product. You don't want maybe too much Nike, too much Adidas, too much blah blah blah. So in my book, first it's always my personal taste, and then the book is global, and we don't really absorb the same way product in Paris, Tokyo, Mexico, and Taipei. Some of them are global preferred, and some of them are really picky zone by zone. We always be in Paris pro running shoes, and in America probably pro basketball more than running shoes. So I have to adapt myself to a global audience,
Yep.
manage presence of some names that have to be in the book, and also really take care of stories behind, people behind, and about the text we're gonna tell to people. For me, it's not necessary to repeat 25 times the same product and a different color of a Yeezy or different color of a Dunk shoe. But it's better to do a wonderful image shot in-house with all the new Yeezys that just released at the end of the year than showing 20 of them every pages. Same with Supreme, same with big Nike shoes. And the balance between brands, contents, colors, make the final decision. But to make a 256 pages book, I need probably to shoot more than double. And when I shoot more than double, then it's all about the edit. And that edit is like you see showrooms,
You make all the
I love this,
selections.
and then you make your own selection. I do exactly the same.
And where there's some moments like, oh, I really love this one, but this one,
Yeah, but it has to fit a book and it has to fit 200 something pages, and I can't have a book like this. Otherwise, you will complain the shipping is too expensive and the
Yes.
book is too expensive. So same.
So, how many countries have you visited? How many? What is there a number of cities that you have done
Since the beginning of the
since
book,
the beginning of the book?
I don't count the cities, but last year I did 27 stops going from Mexico City to Taiwan. So mostly all the planet.
All the plan.
And some years I love to visit some friends, some cities that really either admire my work or I'm a very big fan of those cities. And like today, first time in Istanbul thanks to the book. Last year, first time in Casablanca. A few years ago, first time in Moscow. So I try also to understand how the rest of the world absorb our culture, digested it, and show some love. Yeah.
So you're a world citizen. You
I
travel
am,
everywhere. You don't
definitely.
judge. You go
No,
everywhere.
no,
and
no.
today you're
Yeah.
here with us in Istanbul.
Yes.
And
Thanks
I
for
think
having me.
Istanbul is so excited to see you all.
I wish. I
and,
wish you are.
You
'Cause
know,
I'm really excited too.
yeah, and I know. I also want to talk a bit about footwear, and especially like how do you see footwear evolving, especially now?
Yes.
You know, yesterday we talked a bit personally,
Yeah.
but like, how do you see? Because you were around when things were really like at the creation points, right?
Yes.
And if you could little talk about the past, how things used to be, and the things that you miss, but also the way you see how footwear is now and where you see it's going.
Okay. I think it's not only an analysis about footwear, but in general.
In general.
When we started, and when people before me started, that whole culture was a members club only.
Yep.
And you can recognize easily from a few clothes an attitude, that guy is part of my
Universe.
universe. Let's tell it this way. Today, if I'm in Istanbul, if I'm in Taipei, Mexico or Paris, a lot of people digest the same way and look the same way. So the main difference is the fact we are way more consuming that culture we call street or pop today. So of course, brands digest different way. If we are more people wanting the products, they need to produce more. And the main change is when we call something limited edition. Back in the days, it was really limited. 96 pair, 45 pair, 48, 200, 500. 500 was already
A big number, yeah.
but today, what's limited, what's not? What's really sold out, what's not sold out? So we need also to adapt ourselves and admit that those people are into something which is way more bigger than you and me can imagine. Everyone wants the same thing at the same moment.
It's like a movement. It's a global movement.
It's even bigger than this. It's like it's bigger than a cultural movement, and some people, especially old people like my age, will complain.
You're not old, come on.
I mean, they will complain. It used to be better before it was more soul, more energy, more blah blah blah.
but it's different, it's
I get
evolving.
them. I get them. Sometimes I also complain, but on another hand,
We're also more connected, right?
we're also more connected, and because we turn that culture to a small movement, to something that huge, I'm in front of you doing this interview in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Would have been possible before.
Probably not.
would have been possible before. And my book and what I'm doing is also known by the whole planet. So you cannot complain that you can export your talent, export your stuff, export the way you want the people to live your thing in one way, and also complain that there's too many people absorbing it and the brand are doing too much. You need to have a balance in your judgment and accept we are living in a global world and we need that culture to be different than we used to be. The thing that never changes is the state of mind. Thinking straight is a way that other people coming from other movements don't think the same way. And this will stay forever. The rest is historic.
Yeah, from spending like the past 2 days with you, I feel like you're actually you build bridges between cultures.
Yeah, I agree with this.
You
Yeah.
build bridges between people that are into this culture,
Yes.
but also the people that are in the creating part.
Yes.
You know, you put them all together. At the same time, you traveling, you build these bridges, and you actually help the communities to grow bigger and bigger. Because
Kind of.
today we will have probably a couple of hundreds of people coming in here.
Mhm.
They will get to know you. They
Yeah.
will get
I
to
will
know
get, I'm gonna
you're gonna get to know
learn
them.
from them,
Yeah.
and it's always a win-win situation.
Yeah.
So some people will complain the stuff become too big
Yeah.
and less cool, but I learn a lot, they learn a lot, and thinking always too small as a members club only as the beginning doesn't make a living. I turn myself as an entrepreneur and I turn my hobby into an occupation thanks to this.
Yeah.
So I can beat the hand feeding me. There's no way. So that's why I'm always positive and happy to see that culture becoming so big and so welcome all around the globe.
One question that we probably will have in Istanbul to you, and I'm sure you're gonna have some people ask you to, people that are really enthusiastic about this, let's label like say street culture
Yeah.
and the movement.
Mm-hmm.
What would be an advice from you to them if they're around this, but they really do not know how to like add a value to it? Let's say they're in Istanbul.
Yes.
It's there is not many events like these.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what would be an advice for you to give them, for them to be able to add some benefits to this culture globally?
The good advice would be to believe in themselves and try as much as they can to be different than the masses. Because the issue now with social media, you know everything, and knowing everything, you don't even feel the necessity to travel and learn more. All information cannot come from your phone. You need from your phone to know stuff, but then you need your own analysis, and then you need to be able to criticize even if the masses say it's cool. You can say it's not, and you need to live in a way to be as much as you can, once again, singular, different from the masses, and do your own thing. If everyone doing blue t-shirt and you don't like blue t-shirt, do a black one. And if everyone listen to that guy and you don't get these lyrics and you don't get that guy, listen to something else and try a way to make your old friends and your old circle be yours and become your leader on your small scene, and that small scene will become a leader from another one, and then spread the word with what the way of thinking. But if you become a new clone of another clone who looks exactly the same as you, listen the same music as you at the same
You
time,
have no impression, you have no statement.
yeah, and you have no statement, and you won't impress anyone, and you will be the same guy. And the only thing will be different from you and some other guys, maybe the way you can spend money on stuff, but not the way you create stuff, and the fact being that cool guy you want to be looking at some other cool guys, it's all on you, not only on what you have in the pocket and what you can spend.
One last question
Yes,
before
please.
we
Yes.
finish this beautiful conversation. I know a lot of people must ask you, and you also stand in this like position where you have to also manage all the
Yeah.
positions. What is your favorite silhouette of 2019? I know we talked and you said I rather go by brand,
Yeah.
right? So
The question,
personally, like Michael.
the question is not even politic. As I'm like you,
yeah,
I have a lot of shoes and I change a lot of time. So today I'm wearing those, which are not even 219, they are 218.
Yeah.
I was looking at the weather. It was supposed to rain today, and it was supposed to be a bit cold. So I wanted a high top shoe that can get the rain and get my feet quite hot. 2 days ago I was wearing Tom Sachs shoes. They were breathable because it was supposed to be sunny and stuff. So I adapt myself to the weather, to my look, and to the people I'm supposed to meet. If you ask me to select only one, why I'm making a book which is 256 pages if I'm only selecting one? You know what I mean? So in 219, I don't have one favorite shoe, but I have many. So
Can you state some at least? Some of your favorites? Let's say some of your favorites? Because the community, I think they want to know.
Yes.
They would love to know.
Yes. So ask me the question brand by brand, and then
Okay.
I reply.
Let's start with Nike, since you're wearing Nike
Nike. I think
today. You resellers, don't start listening to him and making
Cactus Plant Flea Market Vapor Max. It's
Okay.
probably one of the best Nike of the year.
Wow,
Yeah.
big statement.
Yeah.
Big statement.
Yes.
Adidas.
She did a crazy job. Adidas, including Yeezy or not including Yeezy?
Let's include it. Or you can answer none and with
I think
your favorite Yeezy.
I think
let's say.
Yeezys, they made a crazy job at the end of the year. And the last one, you see, sometimes I'm lost in conversation. Remind me the name of the last one.
Alien.
No, there
Which
was another one after the Alien.
Esat, which one was it? You must know. The last Yeezy after the Alien.
700
Seven.
V2 or V3?
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 Yeah,
Al-
V3.
V3.
Sometimes I'm lost because I'm already making a new book.
Yeah.
And
It's normal.
yeah, if you get a book, I show you. I know, but you have to open one.
I open it.
Yeah.
I'll let you open it.
They don't. Can I give you this? So if we look this way, it's good for them to have images.
Yes.
So if we look this way, it's almost the last pages. So this one, which is officially the Boost 380 and the
V3.
700 V3. So we have two models, but I think this one was better. So it's the 700 V3. I was right.
Yeah.
We say we want also an Adidas, remember?
Yes.
I like those. I like the Blondie Superstar.
Blondie Superstar.
Yes, I like those a lot. If you want an Essex, I would say a Wake New York collaboration with Essex on a Cayenne 05 360.
Nice.
If you want Puma shoe, Californian label Road did a great collaboration
Road.
with Puma. He did many, and I think
It was a bit out of the box, right? It was really. He had his element in it.
I show you.
I know which one you're talking
I
about.
show you. It was.
You can really see his DNA in it.
This one. This
Yes.
one. I think it was the alteration.
The
This one,
alteration, yeah.
Yes. Are we missing someone?
No.
Are we missing someone? Yeah, Mizuno.
Mizuno.
This Mizuno Foot Patrol was kind of good.
We wanna make sure we include everyone, so we're
yeah,
inclusive.
My favorite Reebok was definitely this one, Kangyuk for Reebok, the
They're fire.
Korean label, absolutely amazing.
Really fire. Also, the materials they use are really
Yes.
special.
We can mention Vans and we can mention New Balance.
Yeah.
So Vans did a collaboration with Damien Hirst and an hotel in Las Vegas called the Palm. It's a cross collaboration between the hotel and Damien Hirst because the hotel owns a lot of Damien Hirst work and the shoe are fire. And I think New Balance, they killed it with Slam Jam and with Nova Kensi in. So Nova Kensi in did this one. Oh, Slam Jam is here. So Slam Jam did a wonderful 990 V3, and
Beautiful.
I think
Nice, sleek, and
yeah,
minimal.
wonderful. And Nova Kensington and that label called Strarats, they also killed it on New Balance. But you see, I'm already exaggerating. It's not only one; it's many. As soon as you see this, you want to add more.
That's kind of the difficulty about this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I personally have two of your books.
Also Aimé Léon Doré did a crazy, fantastic New Balance. I forgot.
Yes.
My friend Edison Chen also killed it with his Air Force One. You see,
It,
once the memory come
once
back,
we open
yeah,
up,
once the memory come back, it's.
I mean,
all-
we live
yeah.
in such a fast-paced world right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's very hard to slow down at
I know.
times, right? And I feel like this book is really
You see, even
a
me,
collector's item.
but even me, I need to reopen it to remember because I'm already focused on 220 so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael, I want to thank you for coming, man. Really, you know,
Merci beaucoup.
you know, apart like the book is something very valuable to you,
Merci.
and for us, you being here is even more valuable
Yeah,
because
thank
we
you
can
for
get
having me.
we can get to know you, listen to your stories,
Yes.
because we're all part of this culture. We all try to add as much as we can.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
Merci.
Really.
Bravo. Thank you, Istanbul.